Oh yeah, I'm good.
So good day, y'all. We taking this take again. We just decided to go ahead and record it because whatever's going on with Facebook, we ain't even trying to get into that. Right now, we don't want to take any awareness away from the situation. At the moment, we just decided to bring awareness. This is the way we do our protest. We're gonna sit in, we're gonna talk to you guys once it's posted. Any questions, answers, anything you guys have, you can contact Craig Fisher, Crystal Cadia, or Horace Cadia through Facebook, through our phone numbers, or whichever, and we'll talk to you guys. We're also gonna post this on YouTube, so you'll be able to get it from there as well. And we're trying to get all awareness to the social media sites. But right now, to open up, we're gonna open up in prayer. So, dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, we come before you right now. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. Lord God, right now we just ask that you just look upon us in this time, Lord God. Each one teach one, Lord God. That's the motto that we've been standing on. God, for if we know better, we'll do better. God, we understand that our people perish for the lack of knowledge, Lord God. They don't have vision, Lord God. There's anything that they need, Lord God, they know that they need to come through you. But for the time being, God, we ask right now that you just see fit to give peace, Lord God, in their hearts and their minds individually. Lord God, even if this thing goes forth, Lord God, and it won't stop today or tomorrow, we know that you still have your hand on the situation. So God, we ask right now that you give ultimate peace, understanding, and knowledge. Wisdom, Lord God, through all. And we just say thank you. And we ask right now that you let the words be of you and not of us, Lord God. Let statistics stick, Lord God, and let it be able to be factual. And Lord God, when it's our opinion, we'll say it's our opinion, God. And we say thank you for allowing us to have this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, you ain't gonna do your little board thing?
I do it.
You open it.
Okay.
Mine's more major than mine. Where yours is.
I'd like to give the latest statistics as of May 31st. This literally was posted around 2:25. This is from my sources coming from Mapping Police Violence, and the writer is Muhammad Haddad. So between 2013 and 2019, police in the United States killed 7,666 people. According to data compiled by Mapping Police Violence, a research and advocacy group, on March 26, 2020 at 9:25 p.m. At 2:25 GMT, May 27, George Floyd, a 46-year-old resident of Minnesota, became yet another victim of police brutality as he was killed in police custody while unarmed. Floyd's death was prompted thousands of protesters to march in cities around the country demanding justice and an end to police violence. The number of police killings in the U.S. disproportionately affects African Americans. Despite only making up 13% of the U.S. population, Black Americans are 2.5 times as likely as white Americans to be killed by police. Unsurprisingly, the three largest states, California, Texas, and Florida, have the highest total number of killings of Black people by police officers. Once these figures are adjusted for the population size and demographics, in nearly every state, African Americans face a significantly higher risk of being killed by police officers than white Americans. In Utah, the African American comprise just 1.06% of the population, but they accounted for 10% of police killings over the past 7 years. This proportional rate of 9.21 times. In Minnesota, Black Americans are nearly 4 times as likely to be killed by law enforcement, with Black victims comprising only 5% of the overall population. And this was written, like I said, May 31st, 2020, yesterday. The Bible says in Hosea 4:6, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also will reject you from being priests for me. Because you have forgotten the law of God, I also will forget your children. I said this Sunday, I believe that we are living in the days of Moses. Because in Exodus 1, it talked about how that the Egyptians seen the Hebrews growing in number and in strength. And they felt in fear that if we don't put a stop to these people by enslaving them or even killing them, then they can team up with the enemies and overtake us. And I feel that the powers that are at B see African Americans as a threat. And because of that, the abortion clinics wasn't doing it. The alcohol stores and drugs wasn't doing it fast enough. So they literally set out a task force to start killing us. Even when King Herod heard that there was supposed to be another king, everybody that was 2 years and younger, he sent his soldiers out to go kill him. This is a repeating history. We got it in the Old Testament in Exodus chapter 1, then also in the New Testament, Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. You can read both of those up, and there's more stories in the Bible that tells more stories like that as well. And just keep repeating after history. We got to do better. I just believe that we can show that we can do better by bringing more awareness, by letting people know that you can sit down and have an educated conversation. And you don't have to go burn down anything or do whatever, like they saying, destroying the city. But being realistically, if you don't know how to voice your opinion, just like a child, you act out. And I feel like people are acting out because they feel like they don't have a platform. This is a platform for everybody to know that you can use your social media, you can use your cell phones that we watch videos on all day, you can make your own video. Yes, me and my wife are pastors. Fish, all of us in here are Christians. And we said this 4 other times before it kept getting interrupted. Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that I'm prejudiced against this situation, or I feel that only African Americans are the problem or whites are the problem. White Americans ain't being killed from police brutality. It's only African Americans. Yes, I'm African American. My wife, my kids. And because of that, it just makes us stronger in this point. But by me being a Christian, make me more passionate about the subject. Christianity was established 2,000 years ago. Like I said, the awareness of black lives getting killed by police officers and all that stuff, that's just a new event. Just in the last 7 years, we had over 7,666 killings. Most of them are black. We are 2.5 more likely to get killed than white Americans. All that was in the statistics. That was just in the past 7 years. So 200 years, black people were just enslaved. So it's just a new topic that we need to talk about. I don't think we need to be in the churches. My opinion, I don't think we need to be in the churches talking about did Jesus resurrect on the 3rd day or the 4th day? Should we do communion? Do we have to be water baptized? Should you baptize people in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, or just in the name of Jesus? That's irrelevant conversations. We need to be focused on what's going on now and how can we help these young people that feel like they don't have a voice. This is your way to talk.
How do I want to start this? First and foremost, I guess the way I see things is, if you do want change to happen, you have to go about it in an organized way. Rioting and tearing up the streets in your own community aren't going to accomplish anything. If anything, make it worse. I don't know if anybody caught the Killer Mike video with the mayor, but he said this is not the time for rioting. This is the time to go in your houses and organize, plot, and plan, basically. People like MLK, Gandhi, all major activists plot and plan. They didn't just go out there willy-nilly and, see how things go and to get something accomplished. In order to accomplish big changes, you have to really be organized. you have to really be planned. The reason nonviolence resistance works so well is because it showed the entire world through television that, these people are willing to get spit on, hit, beat up, whatever, called every name in the book, but they did not retaliate violently. And that's why MLK's plan worked so well. Same thing with the bus boycotts. You have to be able to hit the people. If you want big change, you have to hit them in certain areas that will allow them to give in to your will, basically. Whether it's politically, economically, that's why the bus boycotts worked. They're very well organized. They're taking money from the bus system. They organize other folks to use their own cars and stuff to get people to and from work. Some people walk miles and miles to work just to get it, to get their point across of equality and just being able to sit anywhere you want on the bus. And basically, all his means did that through media. You could do the same thing with social media. We don't have to necessarily have as large demonstrations anymore to make that point heard, because you can get your own phone out, just like Horace was saying, and record your protests, whether large or small. But if you want to make big change, and if you want to make change in the police system that is causing all this, you have to have a really big organized plan with lots of people on board. You're not going to get it done with 2, 3 people, 4, 5 people. I mean, there has to be a larger group of unity. Whether does that thing exist right now? I can't tell you. I don't have an answer for the solution. But you're going to have to somehow economically punish the police forces, or politically punish the police forces, or your local government, or something, if you want change to come about. Looting and rioting is not going to get you nowhere. Even Malcolm X came around to that eventually, that, he was all about violence and, whatnot. At first, but he kind of changed his attitude on that, just like he changed his attitude on white people being the devil and against us always, because he went over to Africa and saw white Muslims, along with black Muslims. So he came back with a whole new ideology that the white man isn't necessarily the devil, it's the system that's the devil. And that's the thing that you have to fight against. But in order to fight against it, you have to be very well organized. I guess that's kind of what I got to say.
Some people that they should read about.
There in two ways to get organized. I mean, you really you could read all of Martin Luther King's letters. You could read everything he's written down. They compile books of all his speeches, this, that, and the third. How he went about, the way he went about things. Same thing with Nelson Mandela and apartheid. I mean, the facts are out there, and they're not necessarily always on the internet, because what people seem to forget is facts come from primary sources and secondary sources. Whether you saw it with your own eyes, or you've got some scientist over here who says, this, that, and the third, and I can prove this, and that makes that the truth. So when your facts, anything you read on the internet aren't your facts. In fact, the artificial intelligence in Google and just like your Facebook feed shows you stuff that they know that you're going to respond to, whether well or dislike it. It's the same thing with Google. When you go to type in certain types of facts with Google, you basically end up getting confirmation bias, because they're going to give you the stuff that you want to read first. I mean, you really got to go to your books when it comes to this, and the actual accounts of things like that, or old news video and news reels and things like that, where you can actually see it happening. Old newspaper articles. That's, where you learn your true facts from. And these are compiled in books. I wish I could think of the one book off the top of my head, but it includes all MLK's speeches, ideologies, and all that basically in one. But like I said, the ultimate way, if you want true change, it's not going to happen on a small level. It's not going to happen, with violent means. It will have to happen with a well-organized plan.
These guys. So for me, I really got to speak on more of my upbringing. I grew up in Tampa, which is one of the places that here in Florida is doing a lot of the rioting and looting and everything. And I spoke out about it earlier, and I said that the reason why I believe that they're doing it is because they feel like they have no voice. I still stand for that. But you also are sitting here with some people that are, well, first, Craig is biracial, so he's seen it from both sides, white standpoint and black standpoint. Horace and I, we're black, so we've, been in all of this thing that's going on. I have my 2 young sons, which I keep getting up for. They're also black. One of the biggest things I want to come at y'all right now for y'all heart. Before anything, let me just talk about the heart. If it was your child, if it was something that had to do with your family member, if it was something that had to do with anybody that you just knew or feel strongly about, I see a lot of different posts come about, well, they're acting like it's their child. They're acting like it's this. When COVID was around, everybody stuck together. When COVID was around, everybody said, no, I'm gonna go in with my family. I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want you and your family getting hurt. And everything was all good. Like the country was coming to a point where everybody was kind of at peace. Within that, there's always something that you have to realize that the government or whomever it is going to do and tear it apart. I have something like that I was asked. There was like, well, for you guys aren't afraid to die. You guys aren't doing this. I'm telling you like this. No man can kill me until God tells me it's my time. No man can do whatever you can until God say do. We are untouched at this moment because God's grace. And that's what I really want a lot of y'all to understand. At this point in time, it's not a means for us to bicker, fight, argue. You white, I'm black, your baby daddy white, your mama black, whatever. All that don't matter. We should come together. Kings and queens, we need to be on the same page. And the thing is, everybody asks about my attire, my shirt, am I just doing this? Y'all come to Katie Family Barbershop all the time. If I give y'all a tour around this whole thing, this is me and Horace on a daily basis. This is just an issue that we're very passionate about. And I really am frustrated that a lot of the pastors or leaders, and the reason why I say pastors, because we speak out on a lot of other issues. But when it comes down to this, like even, what's the guy that's really funny and everybody like him? Kevin on stage. All of them, they come out, we can laugh about the church, we can talk about the church, we can do that. But when it comes down to real personal issues like this, we need to talk about this. We need to really get on the scale because there will be no more social media. There will be no more ideas. There will be no more black people. There will be no more black churches. That tried to get shut down indefinitely by the coronavirus. That's why we have a lot of pastors that are doing services within the cars and all this. Church and state has always been different, period. So we didn't stand for that, and we let that attack. So are we now going to let all of this divide our people? And I know most churches are predominantly white or predominantly black. So the mix or the biracialness of the church needs to come together. And this is where I'm at with that. I see a lot of these people, and I'm going to post some videos as well. And if you have, go to my page, and I'll accept anybody, any of you guys, so you can see. But if you go there, they spoke to a young man yesterday named Rodney. The news reporter asked him, he said, and his words were, how can we help you? How can we stop this? He said, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until y'all leave us alone. Stop killing us. Every time we get somebody, an activist, every time we get somebody for us, y'all kill them. He specifically said Martin Luther King. There's a lot of other activists out there, but he specifically said that. And then he spoke about George Floyd. He said, every time we go out, treat us like we're like them. When he said them, he meant our white fellow Americans. Treat us like we're like them. And he said, if y'all, when we're going somewhere, stop asking where we're going. Stop checking us for drugs. Stop saying that we're doing this. If I have a gun, give me the same time that somebody else gets for having a gun. He said, I'm automatically going to get 3 years just for having a gun. You know, and somebody else will get a slap on the wrist. See, that's where you're causing a division. It's a book a long time ago with slavery, and it was already stated that if you want to divide, you divide and conquer from the inside. So the butt rate of the black male, which is the strongest of the household, the man, other men saw him, other women saw him, and they felt like there was no hope. Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad, and so on and so forth. W.E.B. Du Bois. Go start reading Langston Hughes. There's a lot of different things. You have, what's my girl? Craig, I can't think. Maya Angelou. You have all these great minds that were speaking out. You don't have to use a platform just to be able to use your hands or curse someone out or anything like that. And as a matter of fact, that shows ignorance. Right. And I know because I used to do it. And everything that I used to do, and it's not that I'm judging because I'm not. I'm telling y'all, I came from the same streets. Grew up Comanche, grew up Osborne, grew up 40th Street, 22nd, went to Brandon, Middleton, Plant City, Bloomingdale, church school, crackhead church school at that. You know, and we have a lot of different issues. There's drugs, there's plays. Some people feel like that's the only way that they can do to feed their family. And it's sad that it has to come to that because we fought, and not us per se, but all of our ancestors go back, even a white person's ancestors go back to us. The Statue of Liberty, do your research, was a black woman. Everything got changed. There's chains still at the bottom of the feet. I've yet to go see her in person, but I know it's changed so much. And I know Craig has a lot of history and Morris has a lot of history. He has one of the icons on his shirt. Tupac said it. There's a lot of different things. Change will come once truth is exposed.
Read James Baldwin too. He's another hero. Yeah.
James Baldwin. Craig, the reason why we got this together is because we all come from different backgrounds, but we all care about the same issue. So for me to say I hate white people, that's saying I hate half my brother. I don't do that. And for him to say he hate black people, he hate not only half himself, but half of us. I mean, all of us. We don't do that. So I've seen a lot of cursing, all this stuff. So when you talk about facts, 7,666 black people have died. That's male and female, have died since Trayvon Martin to George Floyd. And we only make up 13%.
That's how many people died to police brutality.
To police brutality, yeah, let me say that. To police brutality. And we only make up 13% in the U.S. Those are statistics as of yesterday. And we live in one of the top. Everything else is going on. We just have to realize that hate is not the way. Hate is not the answer, nor is hate going to get you anywhere but dead or in jail for everybody. And at the end of the day, you literally, or the hospital, you end up with heart attacks and stress because you want to say something and you're not. Anxiety issues, you name it. Like, listen, life ain't been easy. I grew up foster care and a lot of different things as well. So it hasn't been easy. And honestly, I'm raising 2 black kings right now, and they give it to me too. So sometimes you just gotta really look at it and count your blessings in all of it. Count the way that we have each other. We're still able to talk. We're arguing and bickering, but there's a man that's never coming back. You know, blood can't be in his body, oxygen can't. We're talking about gun violence and everything, gun control. Yeah, you know, we need to talk about those things, but at the same time, he didn't kill him with a gun. He killed him by throwing a pressure point, keeping his knee or leg on top of him. There was a similar situation that you guys didn't know. I posted a video as well. There was a white officer that did it to another white citizen who was in a protest for a black person. Did you hear what I said? A A white officer did it to a white citizen who was also protesting for Black Lives Matter. And it took the crowd to say, get him off, and stay on that for the officer to come and lift the other officer's leg. So you still have people that are willing to do the right thing. You still have officers, black and white, that are willing to be on the side of right. And you still have black and white officers that are still out there to be on the side of wrong. Just because somebody, I tell you, it's another video that was out there where there was a young lady who was molested on TV, on camera, on the little badge, where they ripped her underwear, a Spanish officer and a black officer, and she was a black female, and he basically molested. I can't even go into detail. Look it up. 21 years old, scared to leave her house because he put her legs all the way up and did stuff to her. You know, and that was a black officer. And if he watches it, he knows what I'm talking about. It's a couple of different things. So you can't necessarily say a race does all of this, but a race can bring awareness to an issue. And that's what it is. We have good and bad on both sides. We have the people that are extremists on one side, and you have extremists on another side. But if we all come together and play that middle ground and level it, they won't need to go extreme on either side. And that's basically what I'm saying. So, all in all, this didn't mean to be very long. We just need to bring awareness. We hear you guys. For the young, us and younger, we understand, we hear you. We know y'all frustration. We've lived in the projects, we've lived in the hoods, we've lived up there. We know how it is. Sometimes it feels like you can never get out of there. But trust me, we rode the buses, we walked, we got splashed, cigarette butts flipped on us, lived in the back of a barbershop, got lied to, got arrested for felonies. Like, we understand where y'all coming from. Like, don't feel like because of the color of our skin, we don't understand. Or because we live in Newport Richie, we don't understand. Only reason why we're not in Tampa today is because we're trying to better and look for different houses to move to. We made a life out here before this issue even came. But I'm telling y'all, we stand with y'all. And for the older people, start listening, stop judging.
And start teaching.
And start teaching. That's the big thing. You teach them, each one teach one. Craig taught us a lot. When we met Craig taught us a whole bunch about different history. Yes, he did. It's a lot of things that we did not know. It's a lot of reading that he taught us that we thought, oh no, that's not the way he said. He said, don't believe everything you hear. Go back to your founding fathers. He said there's a lot of good presidents. What's the one? I don't know how he said.
Well, Eisenhower warned us of the industrial military complex. That, you know, military will continue to try to run because it was big business and they were making lots of money. So now some of the biggest companies in the United States are like Halliburton, and they're these military contract companies. They want to keep wars going and going and going. Another one is JFK, when he started talking about secret societies and all the things that government didn't want us to know. You know, those are the ones that, you know, and the ones that wanted us to live in peace, those are the people that got assassinated. JFK was really against destroying the Fed and like having so much control of the upper echelon over the regular people. He wanted government to work for people, and people to be treated equally. But once he started talking about the secret societies, his brains ended up on the street. And they've done that to a lot of leaders. The leaders specifically that want us to live in peace. Malcolm X, MLK, Medgar Evers, Robert Kennedy, John F. Kennedy. I mean, and the list goes on. That's just, they don't want peace. They want division so they can continue their, system of, getting certain people rich, keep the rich rich and the poor poor. But yet let's divide them on small issues like race in politics, and when really all the politicians are working towards the same goals, to help their lobbyists, not necessarily the people.
That's why I'm saying we need credit. Because a lot of things that we didn't know, like for instance, even with learning more about society as a whole, like there is, being honest, there is a lot that you can learn from each religion, each creed, whatever, you know, whatever you want to say, there's a lot that you can learn from it. And even being honest, like a lot of the history that we learn, Christians and Muslims and Jews and, you know, a lot of people have a lot of different views, but they have a lot of similar views too. So if they can divide us, this isn't going to be the only way they try to divide us. They're going to try religions. They're going to try, you know, by your finances. They're going to try by everything that they can. You guys have to stand firm. And this is just one of many topics. But it's glad that we're glad that everyone's talking about them and we're bringing awareness to these issues. So honestly, I just want y'all to do better, and we know better, and just stop looking at your brother or your sister of all different races as bad or against you, and just listen to their opinions. Everybody won't always have the same thing, and that's what we try to do through this video. We try to show respect to each one of us. None of us cut each other off. None of us said, oh yeah, but no, sometimes you have to sit there and give respect. And honestly, that's what we're going to say for this video. Horace,
and even your biggest, the people that you may assume are your biggest enemies because they disagree with you on politics and things like that, may agree with you a lot more on other things and may be your biggest supporters. So I mean, it's just a matter of, we could agree to disagree on some things, but you know, when we come together, we become a stronger force and more likely to make change. So don't just count everybody out.
Amen. Last remarks.
We just need to be together. I mean, as a people, we all just need to come together all together. Don't let fear-mongering, social media or the news stations continue to just push fear. And they just keep pushing fear and fear and fear. They make you scared of your neighbor. That's not true. We all know there's good white people. We all know there's good black people, good Spanish, good Arabian people. We all know that. We all know that. Every Chinese person don't got the coronavirus or whatever. You know, there's people that genuinely care and love just like you do, and they hate certain things too, just like you do. We just need to learn how to treat everybody equally, man. If somebody riding a bicycle, they ain't always driving away from a crime. If that's black, white, Spanish, or anything, any other race, we just need to be treated equally. And I just think we just need to stay on that, respect everybody, give everybody a fair chance, and just love everybody like we're supposed to. One of the signs of the end days, the Bible said that the love of many gonna wax cold. We all know what happened, a cold wax. It's hard. So people's hearts are gonna get hardened during these times, and we just gotta, man, just be that light, man, shine, you know, be the difference in this community. Let's really make a difference and really start by one person at a time.
Each one, teach one, period. And I do want to also say, just because somebody says something out of the heat of passion, maybe nigger, cracker, or, you know, y'all people, or whatever, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily racist. It means they said a racist term. It means that they were, I want to say, it's not uneducated what people say. They were ignorant at that moment. Don't let a moment be a lifetime.
And people change, right?
People change. Different things all the time. Like I grew up racist. Like period. Like racist. And everything got changed because God allowed me to be moved from one situation to a whole new situation and marrying somebody that was all about everybody, not just one person. And you know, that's why in turn I can love and still have values at the same time. Everybody eats different, smells different, loves different, but we all bleed the same. And that's what we gotta remember. When you cut yourself open or if anybody else cuts themselves open, you're gonna bleed red. So God bless y'all. We love y'all. We're gonna pray and get out of here, and hopefully get the video uploaded so you guys can see, ask any questions or whatever you have to do. And God bless y'all.
But Heavenly Father God, we thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be able to sit down and communicate, God, our feelings to the people, Lord God, who will watch this video. Lord, we just pray a mighty move in this nation, God, like never before, God. We just pray that you just soften the hearts. Lord God, take out all the hearts of stone and make them a heart of flesh. Lord God, let everybody know and see that you alone are God. We are fallen and we are just failing this nation due to lack of vision. God, we need to first come back to you. Allow your people to come back to you, God, and love one another like you wanted us to. Let them see, God, the love of Christ that you have put in our hearts, Lord. Lord, let us refuse and reject, Lord God, our first nature, Lord God, that will cause hatred and anger and conceit and deception, Lord God, amongst the people, regardless of color, gender, or sexual orientation. Let us come together as a people and love one another. We thank you and we bless you now, Lord, for what you're doing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. See y'all on the book.